Hi folks, Pat here. And tonight my rant is about a gentleman named Chauncey DeVega. And again, Black Liberation Theology. Now, for those of you who don't know Mr. Vega, he's an author and he writes for Open Salon. He has a blog there, or articles there, and most of his articles are about how Republicans are racists. And his most recent article, the one I'm talking about tonight, was about Rick Santorum. And basically, it asks why Rick Santorum has a beef with Black Liberation Theology. Okay, now a couple of things about Mr. DeVega. He's come to the news recently because of some of the things he said about Herman Cain, and he's been called by some conservatives a race minstrel for progressives. And I think that term's a little harsh, but if you read through, Chauncey's or Mr. DeVega's writings, you can kind of see where they're coming from with that belief. Now, in his article about Rick Santorum, basically he says that Rick Santorum's a race baiter, and he's bathed in the racial politics, and says that and believes that Rick Santorum believes that blacks are parasites who live off whites. Okay, and where he gets all this from is that Rick Santorum made some comments about President Obama, including the statement that President Obama practiced a phony brand of Christianity. And Chauncey DeVega said, make no mistake, make no mistake, Rick Santorum was talking about all black people, not just President Obama. And where in God's name Chauncey DeVega gets that idea, I just don't know. Because Rick Santorum sure didn't say all black people. And when he was talking about President Obama's practice of a phony religion, he was talking about Black Liberation Theology. Now, not all black people practice Black Liberation Theology in the beginning. And I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a phony brand of Christianity. I have some issues with it that I've mentioned. What do I think is wrong with Black Liberation Theology? Again, the fact that it hates blacks. Why hate Herman Cain? Why hate him? Because he's a conservative. And because he dared to speak at the Republican National Convention? Or, excuse me, not the Republican National Convention, CPAC. Why I hate Condoleezza Rice? Why I hate, Colin Powell? Why I hate these people? Who are black? They hate them because they didn't follow the prescribed manner of, being black. They weren't their version of black. And in their version of black, you have to be a separationist. You have to pretty much hate white people, and or make a lot of judgments about white people, and you have to blame Christianity for all the woes that have befallen, blacks as a people, which I don't understand. Mr. DeVega makes a lot of references to the fact that Christianity, that people who believe themselves to be good Christians, who believe they were doing blacks a favor by making them slaves, that might be true. Well, what did the people who, from the Northern Army, who died fighting the Confederacy, what did they believe? So were all whites and all Christians going to be painted with the same brush? Are there no whites anywhere who fought against slavery? And not just in America. Look at Britain. Wasn't there anyone who rose up against it? Who's John Brown? I mean, come on. I personally believe, and I certainly can't speak for him, but in reading the teachings of Dr. King, I can't believe that Martin Luther King would believe in Black Liberation Theology. I don't think that's what he preached. Anyway, going on. So, again, President Obama practices a phony brand of Christianity. Well, again, that's was directed at President Obama, not all black people. Now, another thing he brings up is homeschooling. He says that Rick Santorum homeschooled his children. Well, that's because of that when the integration laws came out, that white people began homeschooling their children because they didn't want them to be exposed to black people. Okay, so that means everyone who homeschools their children is a racist, including the black people who homeschool their children. They're racists. I just don't get the connection there. I can see leaving your kids out of school really because of all the violence and the crap they teach at school anyway. You know, in a lot of schools, if you don't want your children exposed to that, is what most, you know, I think what most Christian parents believe. You know, the drugs and the sex and all that crap. You know, you don't want that pressure put on your 10-year-old or 9-year-old to participate in such things. Well, you know, call me crazy, but I think that's a valid concern. But anyway, again, here we're stuck with black liberation theology and this stirring up hatred, and you're going to see so much of it this election. It's not even funny. You know, we're hearing it everywhere. Google Chauncey DeVega. Read some of his articles. He's going to tell you why Rick Santorum's a racist, why Newt Gingrich is a racist, why who's the other guy? Mitt Romney's a racist. You know, why all these guys hate black people, but in their own special way. It just doesn't add up. You know, it's certainly not. I don't think all Republicans are. I'm not a racist. I think I'm the farthest thing from a racist there ever was. I don't have any problem with the black in black liberation theology. It's the hate in black liberation theology I have an issue with, and so should everyone. You know, I don't understand a brand of Christianity that preaches division. You know, if I went to a white church and they talked about hating black people, I wouldn't belong to that church either. Because it has no place in any church. It has no place in Christianity. You know, the Bible only compels us in one place to compete with each other. And that's where it tells us to outdo one another in love. Okay? That's not what black liberation theology is doing. And you have a hard time convincing me otherwise. And I guess I'll continue talking about this until, you know, I don't know, until I'm tired of it, or until you guys are tired of it. But thanks for listening tonight. That's my rant. It's about Chauncey DeVega. Check him out and kind of see where we're going this political season. Thanks for listening. Good night.